Okay guys, so picking up where we left off in class today, I want to go over how to stroke paths in Adobe Photoshop to create like the scroll work that you see here and the echoes of the keyhole that you see here in this document. All right, so back to the document that I was working with in class. So to do this, let's go ahead and open our Paths window. You'll go to the Window menu item at the top of the window. That's if your path window is not already open. You'll click on that Window menu item and you'll go to Paths. And when you open that, you'll see that I already have the paths in here for you, both for the scrolls that border the poster, but also the path for the keyhole. So when I click on the keyhole to select it and make it active, you can see there's the path right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a color to this path and just make it a nice, clean, stroked path. So I'm going to turn this layer off, the image layer that we just placed in previously. And I can either do this on the scroll layer or I can just create a new layer for these stroked paths. And I think what I'll do is just create a new layer. So to do that, I'll go to the menu item in the layers window and choose new layer. And I'll call this keyhole. All right. And then once you have a layer to be able to apply pixels to that follow this path, you should be able to go to the menu item or the menu in the paths window and choose stroke path. Now before you do this, make sure that you have already selected the appearance for your path. So do you want it to look like it has a brush stroke outline or a pencil outline? Honestly, either one will do. They'll probably look exactly the same. But if you choose brush, no matter which tool you choose, and I would suggest one of those two, make sure that you set your foreground color to the color that you want that path to be. So I want mine to match the scroll work, so I want it to be black. So I've already set my foreground color to black. So just make sure that you've chosen that. And then another thing that you need to be mindful of if you choose the brush is make sure that your brush settings are what they need to be. So I set mine to a size of 5 pixels and 100% hardness because I don't want a soft brush stroke outline. I want it to be very crisp and look just like the scroll work. So I think that 5 pixels in width and 100% hardness should give me a pretty good looking stroke outline. So we'll see. Once you've established those things, and then you make sure that you have the proper layer selected that you want to draw this keyhole on, then you're all set to go to the menu in the path window and choose stroke path. And right here, it'll ask you what kind of tool do you want to apply it with. Well, we know that we have our brush settings the way we want them, so I'm going to choose brush. But just notice you have all these other options that you can experiment with. For a task like this right here in front of us, brush or the pencil are the way to go. So I'm going to choose the brush because that's what I had my settings for, and I'm going to hit OK. And now the path has got a stroked outline, and I'll be able to see it better when I turn the keyhole path off. So there you go. And now I can just do different things with it, like resize it to fit around this key illustration down here. Don't be afraid to use your arrow keys to get it in place. And you might have to, distort it a little bit. So I can see, let me apply that first. I'm going to move this type out of the way so I can select the bottom of that shape. But I might have to scale it up a little bit. and I'm holding the shift key out just so I can drag out one side and scale it out, and I'm holding the shift key down again to drag this side out. So that allows me to just control the scaling on one side. And then I can just, repeat a couple of those and create, a more fancy kind of adornment for that keyhole shape. And also, just, I don't know, just kind of give it a little bit of emphasis, but not so much that it competes with the type heavy headline at the top. So there's one example of applying, some hierarchy to this composition where you're giving, a pecking order to all of these visual elements. Now, in another example that we saw, I got to get my type back together. This is driving me crazy. Moving on, but that looks better. Now, with this example, you can see that there's just a swap of the type elements and the illustration. So the illustration now becomes the focal point, gets the most emphasis, and Alice in Wonderland is still decorative and pretty at the top, but it doesn't compete with the showstopper here, which is the keyhole illustration. And you could also experiment with putting the keyhole objects at the top and running the type at the bottom, and I think that would be kind of a nice arrangement too. Let's just check it out. Oops, that didn't work. Hold shift, get this. And if you hold the command key instead of shift, it lets you skip layers when you want to make group selections of objects. And now you just move this up. I think I like that better. So anyway, so there's another way to create, establish emphasis of the visual elements and create a visual hierarchy of the visual elements in a composition. And so now let's take a look at a way that we can create emphasis within a composition through color and value.